Good morning, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. How you doing? This is Tony Ramos, CEO of Veterans Council of Veterans. We're going to be starting the program in about 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So go get your coffee, go get your food, whatever. Get ready. We're going to start in about 5 minutes. Thank you. Oh, also, just for those who are logging in, if you have somebody that you want us to recognize that died by suicide, please put in the comments. Put in the comments, and I'll make sure I read it off during our honoring time. Thank you. Hey, sir, I'm glad to meet you again. Yeah. Okay, no problem, sir. Cool. Thanks for being here. Between mics. Since you have to, I got to put you on. Okay. Testing. How do you guys hear me? Okay, good. Just for you guys to know that this ceremony is also being live streamed, and I'll tell you the reason why during my remarks. But it's being live streamed as well, so we can reach as many people as possible. At the end of the day, success for me is when people replicate what I'm trying to do. Don't have to just be me. It's just got to be somebody else in another neighborhood. So that's why I'm doing this. So thank you. Just let you know. So it's being live streamed. You're being looked at. So when you start picking your nose, you're on camera. Okay, can we get ready to post the colors? Test it. Yep. Rob, Bert. Testing, yeah. A bird. One second. Yeah, get this guy. This one, get this flag. This guy's back there. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna make a little some adjustments to the program. First, I would like to bring up Sergeant Jermaine Jackson to sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And now have Colonel Christopher Colonel Dickey to come up to the podium and give the invocation.
David reminds us in Psalm 34, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Let us pray. Almighty God, we pause together in this, your vast world, which is full of your beauty and the work of your hands. Lord, in your power and in your creativity, you created the mountains in their grandeur and the heavens in their majesty. Despite your unfathomable splendor, Lord, you're not a God who is distant and disconnected, but truly, Lord, you are near to us. I thank you that in days of triumph and in days of tragedy, Lord, you are there. Loving God, today we gather together to remember. May we sense your loving peace as we remember together today, knowing that we are not alone. And God, you are the God who redeems and restores, and you write better stories than we do. I thank you for your love and for your grace, and I pray this in your matchless name. Amen.
You may be seated. God, we always hear God works in interesting ways. And I went, they had SOF week a couple weeks ago. The Special Forces, they take over the whole downtown. And I went to the mental health portion, and sitting at who I sat next to was Colonel Christopher Dickens. First time I met him. I says, "You're going to be my thing, aren't you?" So I was like, "Great." We had a great conversation. I really hope that you share it as well, because this is the time when the things that come in your heart is the time to do it, because we're about to share. So I want to first of all talk about people I think that helped put this together. But I want to acknowledge people, some elected officials in the audience as well. So clearly, I want to recognize Major General retired James Hartzell for being here. He's Director of Florida Department of Veteran Affairs. Thank you for being here, sir. I want to do this guy last because he's Navy, and I'm still hurting from that. But I also want to thank Commissioner Joshua Warsaw for being here for Hillsborough. He's a Navy guy. I also want to thank somebody who I talked to a lot, who's on my confidants, for coming here all from Pinellas, General retired Johnny Johnson. Thank you, sir, for being here. I also want to recognize the past department commander for being here as well. Eunice Butts, thank you, ma'am, for being here. Are there any other elected official? Oh, I just saw Luis did Luis just step in? Yes. He just came in at the end, but you probably know Luis Vieira. He's been a strong supporter of, I've been doing this for a lot of years, and he's mostly been up to all of them. And so I was glad when he was able to sit there and also be part of this, and he'll be speaking as well. I want to thank the volunteers for putting this together. I want to first of all thank Patty Delgado. I mean, she's been doing this about as long as I've been doing this, and she's been here all the time. So thank you, Patty, for helping, putting this together. My wife, we started putting this thing up here at like 4 o'clock in the morning. She was coming from the casino, and I was coming in. And I say that jokingly, that's why we met here. And she's under the weather, and couldn't, I said, I think maybe you have something. So I'm going to recognize her personally now while she's in there, getting there, because she's also one of the people that actually been making sure I put this together. So I want to make sure that person's recognized. And my program, there's nothing worse than missing somebody. I tell you, it's like I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. So why are we having this ceremony? Why are we taking this 11th time having this ceremony? And why are we having it? You ever thought about what happens if a veteran or even a first responder die by suicide? What do they do? What do they do during Memorial Day? Veteran died. I mean, the veteran died in normal circumstances. They would be recognized during Memorial Day. But are they recognized if they do decide to die by suicide? And God put it on my heart. He said, "Well, Tony, you can do something about it. You got VCV." So that's why we did this, because we felt that we did not want the ones who died by suicide to be forgotten. You would not be forgotten. Veterans Council Veteran would be forgotten. And those who are out there looking at the streaming long. But I was on LinkedIn, I was in DC for some kind of event. I had contact on my friend to get tennis together. He said, remember Joe? I said, yeah, Joe Bennett, yeah, we're all in tennis together. Did you read his post? I said, no. I read his post. Lieutenant Joe Bennett, I know him. A little different from what I knew in the tennis space today. He gave a keynote speech at his university, Worcester Polytechnic, WVI. And he talked about the loss of his son. His son died by suicide. First year of college, same school. He went to the same school as that. And I'm like, and I'll tell you, I was affected because, it's funny because I didn't know those guys during the time here. And now they're old men like me with bald heads and all their daughters are graduating or whatever. So fast forward, but it still touched me. And I said, we got two things in common out there. One, we both serve together, and two, we understand the importance of remembering the person that died by suicide. So I promised to Maureen that. I hope, Joe, if you're out there, please let me know. Maureen, wife Maureen, I wanted to, for this one moment, I want to elevate Ronan, James Ronan, to a veteran status, just for this conversation. I want you to know, everybody out there, I recognize you, Ronan. I appreciate you, and I love your father and mother, Joe Maureen, and we will not be forgotten in this ceremony. So, Joe, Maureen, I made my promise. Thank you. Okay, so let's get on after that. Now let's get on with the ceremony. First, I want to bring up somebody. I've known this general for a long time, and I think when we first met him, he had a special duty assignment. Wasn't like, he's like, I ain't gonna be here too long. I'm just here temporarily. I promised my wife I'm not gonna be doing this long. Now he's the director for about, now he's been the director for how long? You been the director now, sir? 6 years. So I've dealt with him like 8 years ago when Danny Burton was director. And that time he was telling me, oh no, I'm gonna be here a short time. I'll take care of my family. I'm gonna take care of my family. And there he is here. And I tell you, so we go a long way. So it's not like hey, it's something we went a long ways. And he was there when I was at the board of the family. He was also there for that. I appreciate that as well. And so I want to bring up to you someone that I think is important because I want to bring this up. He's a state level. So if he's talking, the state doesn't listen. So no further ado, I want to give Major General James Hartzell, named as Hammer, the director of Florida Department of Veterans Affairs.
I don't like using this, but probably they're going to make me do it because it's being recorded. So keep in mind. There's a lot of places that I'm going to be this weekend, this long extended weekend, representing our Florida veterans, families, and survivors, 1.4 million. We're a national leader for Veterans Affairs. Florida is across the nation. I serve a governor who's a combat deployed Navy veteran. Just think about that. I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about where he came from and what he understands we're talking about right now, which is families who lost a loved one. He was in war and he saw the flag grade caskets being put on a ramp and sent home. He's seen it. He understands why we're here. So of all the places I get to go, and I want to be this weekend, this is where I told my boss I'm going to go today. I want to be here because the Tony, Florida Veterans Hall of Fame inductee, and y'all know Tony, you know why he's in our Florida Veterans Hall of Fame. But because of families. Veteran, first responder, death. Don't put anything in between those two things. Because if you're a family member of someone who's gone, they're gone. Doesn't matter to me how that happened. You're a gold star family. That's what I believe. That's why I wore my gold star tie. I deal with this often, sadly, far too often. I deal with a lot of veterans going on. We have 9 state veteran nursing homes, and I was with a 108-year-old a month ago, a 106-and-a-half-year-old told to round up 107 because he's closer. He's had a great life. He's happy. A 105-year-old and a 102-year-old, all last week. What they remember, with tears in their eyes, this very day, at that age, is their brothers who didn't come home with them from war. That's what they remember. That was their family in combat. So to me, it doesn't matter what the circumstance is. If you're a family member of someone who's not here and you're breathing still in your heart or honoring, that's why we're here, to recognize and support you. Veterans Counseling Veterans is a great, use the team method. Great job, Tony, because we do help each other as veterans. I've personally talked to myself on a number of veterans who didn't want to be with us anymore, and I got them help. I talked to their family got them help. So that's what we can do today, is we can help others so they don't grieve like we did. Okay? I have a son who's buried in the Florida National Cemetery. I'll be there Monday in uniform. I'll get a haircut. But again, I'm thinking about the families who lost loved ones. That's why I want us to be here today and think about it. There's nothing else that really matters right now. This is a Memorial Day ceremony, celebration. And it's for our families and friends and survivors. That's what we're here for. Nothing else really matters right now. So thank you, Tony, for inviting me. Let's join y'all. And let's all just put our hearts in a place of remembrance and thankfulness that we're here together. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Guess what, guys? On that talk. We're gonna sit there and get mine on. Right. Okay, so now we my phone in a minute. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Those words, those who came in may have missed it, but I think Brian may have got it on the record, hopefully. But it was a great speech by, and one thing that Hammer kept mentioning about that we're all part of this, because I always say that veteran suicide is a national problem with a local solution. And the local solution is right here in this room. We're the ones going to fix it, not somebody from Washington, D.C., not some statute. It's us that noticing that something's going on over here. And I always say, when it comes to suicide, you cannot nationalize it, you cannot monopolize it, and you cannot franchise it. It's something that's at every individual, and that's where we got to start, starting right here in this room. So thank you very much for that, sir. So the next person, I've known this guy for a long time too. And it's funny because I'm watching as we're going, I've known this guy and watched this guy. I'm watching his son just grow. Did he finally graduate? He's finally graduated. I mean, it's really interesting watching the timeline as you watch this go. And Luis, and I say Luis has been a supporter of Veterans Council veteran for a very long time, and he's been at almost all of these that I've had that I can remember. And I was glad and honored that he could be here again as well. So again, somebody who I've known, who's known me and been part of this fight. I want to introduce Councilman Luis Vieira.
Good to see you, buddy. Hey guys, how are you? Really good pleasure to be here today. A real pleasure to follow Major General Heartfelt. Good to see you, sir. God bless you, and thank you for your words. Always very, very meaningful. And we always thank Veterans Counseling Veterans and Ellsworth Williams for everything that you do, sir. We really, really appreciate all your work. It's good to see here a lot of our folks with the American Legion, including Post 138 and 167, among others. Always good to see y'all. Good to see Commissioner Wilson, who's here. Good to see you, sir. My colleague on Heart and in public service here. Also wanted to mention the Office of Representative Fentress Driscoll is here. Good to see you. Yep, good to see y'all. And also see Tampa Police Department, and good to see our first responders here as well. So, you know, guys, this is a very, very special event. It's something that is really You know, from the heart and for the heart. I always think of, you know, I grew up in church, going to church a lot as a kid. And I always remember the story of the good shepherd, the shepherd that, you know, had 100 sheep and had one sheep missing. And that shepherd spent all day and all night looking for that one sheep. And we think about that in terms of today in our first responder, in our military community here in Tampa that we're always so proud of. But a lot of times families that have lost a loved one by suicide are sometimes that one sheep that a lot of people forget about. And there's nothing worse in life than to have a hurt that is structural and that goes to your heart. Such a deep hurt that you don't feel is recognized, that you don't feel that people see. And a lot of times in our culture, I would imagine in the military community and in everywhere else, suicide is one of those things. We all take life's worst hits. We all take hits differently. We all take hits at different times in our life, and it affects us all differently. And when you sign up, whether it's with a police department, whether it's as a firefighter, whether it's in the military, you're going to take very, very difficult hits, and you bring your personal life with you. You bring the challenges at home with your kids, with your parents, with a loved one, with whoever it may be. And when you take those difficult hits, whether it's going on the job and seeing a person who's dying, you have to help resuscitate them, helping out a victim of crime, being deployed overseas to places like Iraq or Afghanistan or Bosnia or Kuwait or Vietnam or Korea, wherever it may be, and you're seeing terrible things, you take those hits and it affects you. And so we recognize those hits and how our heroes respond, that we're all just people. And we all respond differently to it, and making sure that all of our heroes are seen and that all of our pain is recognized. Because again, there's nothing worse in life than to be having terrible pain that you don't feel somebody sees. And so, but thanks to the work of Veteran Counseling Veterans, we make sure that that pain is seen and recognized. So it's a real pleasure to be here today. I have to give a shout out, by the way, to our Veterans Treatment Court under Colonel DJ Reyes and so many other good folks who does amazing work in recognizing that pain that our veterans go through. It's a real pleasure to be here, guys. Look forward to the rest of the program today. God bless you, and a very meaningful Memorial Day to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving along, so another anecdotal thing is that, so I know part of this memorial is for our first responders. And for me, the first responders is personal. My wife's a retired law enforcement officer. And when she came back here, and she actually started doing a job at the Grady Elementary School. She's a resource officer there. She's going to retire a second time. But while she was there, she was still connected to the law enforcement community. So every time someone died that was part of law enforcement, it affected her too. So that's why I become personal. That's why I added it on, because okay, it's just going to affect her. It's going to affect me. And I need to say something. So I want to definitely, I thank you, Luis, highlighting that, they want to overlook the TPD for being here as well, because this is not just for veterans, but it's also for the first responders as well. Even more, you got a lot of first responders who are veterans themselves and join the police, because that's kind of the natural order thing sometimes for a lot of us in the military. Not me, because I have like an allergy. I can't believe I'm married to a law enforcement person, but anyway. But most of them go through the law enforcement world. So I want to make sure I bring that as well. But before we go next, I want to be able to have another selection from Sergeant Jermaine Robinson, and then from that we'll hear from my keynote speaker. Get up here too. Get up here too. Get a camera.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains, through the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Thank you. And before I introduce the keynote speaker, I do my VCV plug. So VCV's primary mission is to prevent veteran suicide. But we do this by addressing the stressors. Just by talking about it, or just by doing push-ups, it's not enough. You gotta look at the stressors that are causing that suicide ideations. We have 5 programs that are built around that. One of them is military sexual trauma. Women veterans have twice the rate of suicide than non-women veterans because of being military sexually assaulted. So we have programs for that. In fact, we got a conference coming up 11th, 12th of July for that. In this country, in this state, probably in this country, the demographic that actually suicide is increasing are the elderly veterans. You don't hear that much, but they are. I mean, from 55, 54, 65, their suicide is increasing. And their suicide is different, right? When you're young, it's a bad patch in life. You just gotta get past it. But when you get older, like almost my old age, it's real stuff. My dad's 88, he'll be 89. Everybody, he's the youngest of the 7, they all have passed. Every day he looks in the paper, somebody he knew died. That's 1. 2, my mom passed too. You lost somebody you get close to died. Health. You get older, as you get older, your health starts going. Isolation, and the worst is feeling like you're a burden. And especially in our country today, where now the family lives in 2 separate time zones. When before everybody lived in one spot. Now it's like your sister, your brother, your mother, or your daughter's in Connecticut and you're over here. So now you feel like a burden. When you bring all that together, then you can really understand why that suicide's higher. We got to do something about that. And that's why I found it, and it's because my father, being my dad all the time. When I found out that, again, as God does to me, he says, Tony, another program. And that's why I created Serving Our Elderly Veterans. And we're going to have 2 conferences coming up. We're going to have one for Hillsborough, 14th of June. We're going to have one for Pinellas the 28th of June. So I just want to make sure you know that. But our primary mission is suicide. Families, families, families. Oh my gosh, families, families, families. I'm a military brat. So I grew up in a military family. The one thing that the VA misses is the family. You got to be holistic. So if you really want to cure the veteran, you want to strengthen the family, strengthen the veteran, strengthen the family. Strengthen the veteran, strengthen the family. If the veteran's got PTSD, very good chance the family got PTSD. If the veteran is dealing from depression, very good chance the veteran is dealing from depression. What does that mean? It becomes generational. If we don't do something, we don't provide access to the family, shame on us. Because we're the reason why the veterans got the service-connected disability. And we stopped at the veteran and not realizing, wait a minute, about the family. That's no new programs. There'll be a conference coming up in November, November is military and veterans recognition. Pretty soon you'll hear about us having a conference, and the target audience is the family, not the veteran. He should be there taking notes, but it's for the family. Finally, the counselors. Trust. We come with the trust factor. Just like everybody else in other professions, the law enforcement and all, they come with the trust factor. So if a counselor is a veteran, and that's veterans counsel veterans, over 70% of our we got 800 people in our network, 70% of them are veterans, and the other 34 are spouses of veterans. So with all of that, now we're talking about doing something about suicide, just talking about it and becoming a slogan. That's my pitch. Next, I know this guy for a long time too. This guy, he went to all the echelons from being the past commander for Florida. He's now on the National Executive Committee, and he's been serving and serving and serving since I've known him, before I known him. And so those who know what the American Legion, they have a program called Be the One, Be the One, Be the One, Be the One. And I always say, if you don't have programs, then it's just a slogan. If you have something to support it. Well, American Legion has Be the One, which is trying to get others in the community to be the one that stopped that suicide. And that's something that Jim, being part of the National Executive Committee, is part. That's why you see some of these brochures. We got brochures up here. We got some wreaths up there, and that's Jim. So Jim's embodies that. But what really got me is when I think last year at the state convention, Jim talked about his son and how his son died by suicide. And I think another relative, I don't want to misspoke, but another person that was close to his son died by suicide. And I said, whoa, I didn't know that. I mean, that's how it is. People right next to you don't even know. And one thing about suicide that's very important, we must know when we leave this, is contagion. If one person died by suicide in the family, your chance of dying by suicide increases 50%. And that's just not the family members, but also the people who are in that unit. And we don't track that. So I said, well, I got to have him at Maya. And I kept dogging and trolling Jim all the time. Jim, you available? Jim, you available? He's available. He came all the way from, where you come from, Jim? Gainesville. My goodness, I'm glad you're here. I hope the accommodations are found. I definitely, no further ado, I want one of my fellow Legionnaire, National Executive Committee Commander, Jim Ramos.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? Before I start with my story, there's a couple of things that I want you to know first. The American Legion has 27 different programs because one program does not fit every veteran. I love what you're doing, veterans, counseling veterans, because guess what? I will not tell my story to my family, but I have two brothers in arms that I would talk to every day if I need to. I call them up. One is in Germany and one is in Fort Bragg. Why? Because we have been through a lot of stuff in 20 years together. And I would probably talk to the chaplain if I need to. There are times, like it is right now, that I see myself, what can I have done different? Did I miss something? That's the biggest part that hits me every time, especially when he was born in the 4th of July and he passed away in the 8th of December. This year, December 25, it will be 25 years that he's been gone from my life. His name is Jim Alexander Ramos. My name, my first name, my second born. Some of the good things. He loved school. That was one thing that I will always say. He went into the National Guard. He was there for 6 years. He was also a police officer. And he had his own place. And his roommate called me up on a Thursday night. Says, Mr. Ramos, you got to come here. Alex left a note for you. He actually left a 7-page of everything that he wanted to be done when he was not here. As soon as I got that, I called GPD, Gainesville Police Department, the sheriffs, let them know what was going on. The first thing they asked me is, does he have his weapon? Yes, he does. That was a big problem right there. So they asked me, do you know where he might have been going? I said, well, his grandmother is in North Carolina. He loves her very much. He's always going there every year. So they started a APB, and that's what, 5 states across that they have to look for him. But he wasn't far, believe it or not. The next morning, I got up. I could not stay at home. I went to work. I said, I know maybe what the outcome is, but I can't stay home waiting on the phone. About 1 o'clock, the superintendent called me to go see him, and that's when the bad news came. 2 police officers were there, one in uniform, one was a detective. They said, Mr. Ramos, we got some bad news. Your son was found not too far from your house in a designated area, and he was dead already because he shot himself with his own weapon. So that's when my journey started to try to get everything done for him. Some of the good things that I always think about is his love for school, his love for his nation when he served, and for law enforcement. I did not know how much of an impact he made in the community. When we started making arrangements, the National Guard says we want to honor the casket and help with the funeral. Well, guess what? Also, GPD wanted to do the same thing. So I says, well, you 2 organizations work out together what you're going to do. But he loved what he did for the police, that he wanted to wear his uniform for his funeral. So they did. They honored him with that. Also, they actually put his weapon empty on the casket in his uniform. So he looks, and he was there 24/7. Officers there all times with him. I miss him every day. Especially this year when it's 25 years, it's going to be I will be there. It took a toll in my family, especially to his big brother. He was serving at the time. He's now retired. And my daughter took it hard because that was her best brother. They grew up together. They were close in age. When the big brother went to the service, Alex was there. He was always there. And every time I think about it, and every time is one question arises. What did I miss? So with that, I would like you guys, if you guys would take one of those little yellow things that I have there, it has a icon, is in the back, icon for iPhone or Android phone that has little things that will pop up. What questions do we need to ask? And it gives you a little thing. If you ask the first one and they say this, you need to go to the next one and the next one. And when you get to number 5, it's call 988. Okay, try to get that person some help. I'm an advocate because not only my son, but I also had a best friend 50 years together as my best friend that I met in the military did the same thing when I was commander in 2016. And I didn't know about it if it wasn't for another buddy that says, hey, Jim, this is what happened to Jimmy Brock. I said, no way. Personally, I have 2. But 1 is too many. And here served from 74 to 94. Raise your hand if you served in the military at that time. At that time, I never heard the word suicide. And it wasn't until my son passed away that I didn't hear the word suicide. But after that, it seems like it's popping up too much. And that's why I'm an advocate. I'm always going to be an advocate. Tell you a little bit about Be the One program. Actually, National was a little behind because Florida actually has 27 for the Legion. So because one program does not fit everyone, so we have to find the right program for that specific individual. And we're talking not only the veteran, but we're talking the family. When it happened to my son, my whole family was affected. You know, not only the one in here in Florida, I have family in New York it affected. My family in Puerto Rico, it affected them too. And then when I had the funeral service, I didn't know how many other friends he had that the funeral was full. And when I had the reception at the house, I'm glad I had 5 acres because it was a lot of people, a lot of cars there. I'm saying, where did these people come from? And they all introduced themselves that they knew Alex, either from church that he used to go to, the police force, or the National Guard. And his schoolmates from high school, they came. So there must have been maybe 300 people during that time. So that's how many actual people I met. How many other people that I didn't know about that he knew also affected. So I'm definitely an advocate. If a veteran comes to me and tells me something, I'm hoping that the right questions come out of my mouth and that I'm thinking about it, because you always got to stop, count to 10 to make sure that you get that first question out correctly. Are you going to do harm to yourself or have thought about doing harm to yourself? The answer is yes or maybe. We're going to sit down and have a talk. And if I can help you, I'm definitely going to get some help. But I'm going to stay with that person as long as I can, and I'm not going to let them out of my sight until we get some help. So that's the Be the One program. Has a lot of different things in there. Please take a look at it. They have this little cheat sheet with 6 questions on there. If you could remember the first one, you can go straight to number 6. Don't let that person go out of your sight. I'll be here until they kick me out. Thank you, Tony, for inviting me. But that's why we have so many programs, because one program does not fit everyone. So we got to find out the cure. We got to find out what to do, because we need our first responders. We need our military people. We need everybody we can still here until he says it's time for you to go. And I'm hoping, I was dead 3 times. He knows when I'm got to go. But I told him, for every time you told me I have to come back, that's 50 years. So I'm going to live to 150. So pray for me, Chaplain. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I look across this room, I think it's important to mention out something. We got Hillsborough here. We now have Pinellas here. We got Republicans and Democrats. At the end of the day, we're all here taking care of the veteran. I always say, is Superman Clark Kent or is Clark Kent Superman? And why is that important to me? I'm a veteran first, true and true. Everything else is second, third layers. I want to call him out. This guy, Representative Bernie Jackson, Representative Bernie Jackson from Oakland and Pinellas. Thank you, sir, for making it. I appreciate you. Again, it's all about the veterans, not about what party you belong to, it's not what religion you belong to, about taking care of the veterans, and that is why we are here. Cool. So now it is testimony time. This is the time when if something's in your heart where you want to give someone that you honor and praise, please let us know. If you got a story to tell, trust me, a lot of these stories help build the bonding. It's the bonding that we need. It's the bonding to support the ecosystem. And if it starts right here, then it starts right here. But I'm now asking you, you guys coming out, I'm here and see if I got anybody called. Nope, don't see anybody in the comments. But if you have any testimonies, please stand up. I do know, and should I put them on the spot, Brian, or not? Okay, so I do want to know anybody here who knows a veteran that died by suicide and want to give him a chance of honor, please come up to the podium. Yes, ma'am. Well, I hate to call her out too. So we got. She's trying to come up, man. We got. She just told me I hate to be embarrassed like this, man. We also got another general officer. Carrie Nero is also, she's part of Veterans Council Veteran Board, so we got a whole bunch of stars there, like I can't even see, it's like a glare. But thank you, man, for making it. I appreciate you. Please, testimony.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry if I have some waterworks. I lost my brother to veteran suicide. He had been in the military for several years, went to OIF 1 in 2003 in Iraq with the 101st Airborne. Came home with terrible PTSD, lost a lot of friends while he was there. Probably, how many years later? 6, well, in 2010, unfortunately, he was medically discharged after his time in Iraq and had severe PTSD, never transitioned well. Just couldn't find his new purpose, right? Or his new mission in life. And so unfortunately we lost him to suicide. And God has used that in such an amazing way though. My husband wouldn't be in the military with 26 years of service as a chaplain if it weren't for my brother. So he has a special place in our heart, but God has used his death to help Chris. Chris has helped so many service members contemplating suicide. I've also worked with the military with the TAP program, Transition Assistance Program. So I'm a counselor with them and I help service members as they transition. And it's my goal to make sure that service members are prepared and ready to find that new purpose and find that new mission as they're getting out of the military, because it's a hard transition for them. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced that in your lives. But definitely, guys, look at how you can help those as they're getting out. But thank you for doing this today, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you. You know, there's no silver bullet. There isn't. There are people out there that no matter what you do, they're still going to die by suicide. But you still want to be able to say, I did everything I could. I mean, that's the only thing you can do after that. And then it's after that's in God's hands. So you hear the old saying, you know, if I just save one person's life, that's all I need to do. Oftentimes, if you save one person's life, you probably save a whole bunch more. So I appreciate your testimony. It's important that we speak up, because that's what's going to diminish the stigma. I can tell you, unfortunately, no, and that's I have to keep stopping myself. That's part of the stigma, but that's okay. It's the one time where you actually got to stop saying things that you normally don't. You know, if this regular soldier or what airman that passed, I'd be just talking. But when it's somebody when it's suicide, you actually got to stop yourself from talking. That's part of the stigma, that you don't want to talk about it. And we're not here to try to sit there and be that. We just want to be the resource for that one day special. That's why it's called a special memorial. One day it'll be normal, but right now it's a special memorial for those who lost a veteran or first responder to suicide. Now, unfortunately, what an excuse. So our sound guy, he started feeling ill, so he could not show. And what the part of this we're supposed to do is the taps. So since we don't have anybody doing taps, unless we got that little bugle with the recording on it, what I would like to do is everybody please stand up. And at least in your head, in your heart, give that person that recognition that person deserved. And maybe you didn't say it today, but we know it's in your heart. We'll give you 3 minutes to start and give that person that particular recognition and honor for 3 minutes. Thank you. Okay, that's close enough. So now I want to bring up, if there's no other one want to say anything, Jamie, come on up. Everybody sit down, please. Sorry.
Thank you, Tony. My name's Jamie McPherson. I work at the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay with the Florida Veteran Support Line. I've been there a little over 10 and a half years. I first met Tony back then when I first started and realized the importance of this organization and the organization in the community effort that we have when it comes to suicide, especially. At the Crisis Center, I started out on the lines as a specialist, and actually we answer the 988 line there as well. And my first suicide call that I took was a Coast Guard rescue swimmer who called on our SAMHSA line looking for substance abuse treatment. He had just finished almost a complete fifth of vodka and was looking to get some sort of treatment for it. He was realizing he was struggling and needed some help. We went through a conversation and discovered several factors, several things that he pointed out as invitations, things about loss. He had just lost his girlfriend. She moved to Alaska to be a marine biologist. And then he started talking about how he lost his father to cancer a few years ago. And then he talked about his previous attempt at suicide, where he had emptied all his tanks and took every weight that he had and tried to drown himself, and he woke up in a barometric chamber. So I asked the question, are you thinking of taking your life now? And he says, brother, I'll be honest with you. I have, and he had the means next to him, and I was planning on using them after our conversation. We were able to safety plan He was able to lock up those means in another room. We sat back down. We were able to pour what left of the vodka into the sink and sat back down, and he agreed to have somebody come out for intervention to take care of him while we were waiting for law enforcement to come out. And we were setting up the follow-up with our care coordinators, and he told me, he says, I got to tell you, brother, you saved my life. That's how I knew that I was where I was supposed to be. And it really hit home because this is something I've never told Tony this. My father is a retired Air Force Vietnam veteran. And 8 years ago, he sent an email with his suicide note on it. Unfortunately, I did not get the note until 2 days after he performed suicide, and I lost my father to suicide. So the reason that I'm still here with the Crisis Center and the Florida Veteran Support Line is it is a personal passion for me as well. I believe that everything that Tony's doing is those steps to help it. It takes a village, it takes a community, and not one individual can help, because not one program does help each individual veteran, as Jim mentioned. There's several things out there, and it all takes about getting people connected. And that's why we're here, is to make sure that we get that connection out there to these individuals, whether it's first responders, whether it's veterans, or whether it's other members of the community, is we make sure we recognize those signs and we do what we can to connect them. Thank you, Tony.
Okay, this comes to the closing. I guess what the end of this can just pop back on. Figures. So anyway, I want to give Colonel Dickey give us the benediction. And I guess we can start getting the food together back there. Yes.
Yeah, let us pray. Now may the Lord of peace himself give you peace at all times in every way. The Lord be with you all. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you and be with you. Thank you, Tony.
Wow, that was quick. Okay, so all right, everyone, it's 12 o'clock on time. So what we're going to do now, we'll have some refreshments back there, some food. So if you want to stay behind and just relax and talk, please do. We'll have about 30 minutes. So thank you very much and have a great day for those who have to leave. Appreciate you.